Captain Jake Harrison stared at the main screen of his salvage ship, the New Frontier. What he saw floating in the darkness of space made his breath catch. The massive chunk of twisted metal and strange alloys was bigger than anything he had ever found before. It looked like someone had taken a battleship and put it through a meat grinder. "Lisa, are you seeing this?" Jake called to his chief engineer. Lisa Morgan looked up from her scanner readings, her face pale. "Captain, this thing is huge. I'm reading power signatures that don't match anything in our database. Whatever built this ship, it wasn't human." The debris field stretched for kilometers. Pieces of hull plating drifted slowly, each one the size of a small building. Jake had been running salvage operations for 15 years, but he had never seen anything like this. The metal was a dark blue-green color that seemed to shift when you looked at it. Strange symbols covered the surviving hull sections. "Ryan, can you pick up any signals from that wreck?" Jake asked his communications officer. Ryan Bell adjusted his headset and ran his fingers over the control panel. "I'm getting something, Captain. It's weak, but there's definitely power still running through parts of that ship. The signal pattern is completely alien." Jake made his decision. "Suit up, people. We're going aboard." The airlock cycled, and Jake stepped into the vacuum of space. His magnetic boots clicked against the alien hull as he made his way to what looked like a breach in the ship's side. Lisa and Ryan followed close behind, their helmet lights cutting through the darkness. Inside the alien ship, Jake felt like an ant crawling through a cathedral. The corridors were massive, built for creatures much larger than humans. The walls curved in ways that hurt to look at, and strange lights flickered weakly in the distance. "This place gives me the creeps," Ryan muttered over the radio. Lisa was scanning everything with her equipment. "Captain, you need to see this. The power core of this ship is still active. It's running on some kind of energy I've never seen before. According to my readings, it should have enough power to run a small city for 100 years. They made their way deeper into the ship. Jake counted at least 50 weapon ports along the corridor they were walking through. Each one was big enough to fit a small car. Whatever this ship had been designed to fight, it was built to win. "Look at this," Lisa said, stopping at what looked like a control panel. The alien writing glowed softly, and strange shapes moved across the surface like living things. "This isn't just technology, Captain. This is art. Whoever built this ship didn't just want it to work. They wanted it to be beautiful." Jake touched one of the symbols and the entire panel lit up. The ship groaned around them, and for a moment Jake thought they had made a terrible mistake. But then the lights grew stronger, and the air filled with a soft humming sound. "The ship is responding to your touch," Ryan said, his voice filled with wonder. "It's like it's waking up." They spent hours exploring the massive vessel. What they found amazed them. The ship's weapons were beyond anything humans had ever built. The armor plating was made from materials that their scanners couldn't identify. The engine room contained technology that seemed to bend the laws of physics, but the ship was also dying. Huge sections had been blown away by some unimaginable battle. The hull was cracked in dozens of places. Life support systems hung in tatters. Whatever had happened here, it had been violent and final. "Captain," Ryan said from his position near what looked like the ship's communication center, "I'm picking up some kind of message. It's old, maybe weeks or months. I think it's a distress signal." Jake listened as Ryan played back the alien transmission. Even though he couldn't understand the words, the emotion was clear. Desperation, fear, and finally, resignation. "They abandoned this ship," Lisa said quietly. "They fought something, lost, and left their ship to die in space." Back aboard the New Frontier, Jake sent a coded message to Admiral Kate Foster at Fleet Headquarters. The response came back within hours, marked with the highest security classification. "All salvage operations are to cease immediately," the message read. "Transport the alien vessel to Luna Station using maximum stealth protocols. Tell no one about this discovery." Jake knew what this meant. The military had plans for the alien ship. Big plans. As the New Frontier began the long journey back to human space, towing the massive alien hulk behind them, Jake couldn't stop thinking about what they had found. The ship was a tomb, a monument to some forgotten battle. But it was also something else. It was an opportunity. Humans had always been good at taking broken things and making them work again. They had built their entire civilization on the idea that nothing was ever truly beyond repair. Old cars, old buildings, old ideas. Humans had a talent for finding new life in discarded things. This alien ship was the ultimate challenge. It was broken beyond any hope of normal repair. Its creators had given up on it, left it to drift in the void as a piece of expensive junk. But Jake had seen the look in Lisa's eyes when she studied the alien technology. He had heard the excitement in Ryan's voice when the ship's systems responded to human touch. These were people who loved a challenge, who saw possibility where others saw only problems. The aliens had abandoned their ship because they saw it as hopeless. They had written it off as a total loss, too damaged to ever fight again. They were about to learn that humans had a very different definition of hopeless. As the new frontier and its massive cargo disappeared into hyperspace, heading for the hidden shipyards of Luna Station, Jake smiled. The aliens thought they knew what broken meant. They were about to discover what humans could do with their trash. The alien warship looked even more impossible inside the massive construction bay at Luna Station. Suspended in the zero-gravity environment, it reminded Dr. Sam Carter of a sleeping dragon. A very large, very broken dragon that might eat anyone foolish enough to try waking it up. "Tell me again why we think this is a good idea," Colonel Rick Stone said, as he floated next to Sam, both of them staring at the alien hulk through the observation window. Sam pushed her glasses up her nose, a nervous habit she'd had since childhood. "Because Admiral Foster thinks we can learn from it, and because every piece of alien technology we've found so far has been centuries ahead of anything we can build." Rick snorted. "That's exactly why this makes me nervous. We're talking about playing with forces we don't understand. What if we accidentally blow up the moon?" The concern wasn't entirely unreasonable. The alien power core alone contained more energy than the largest human power plants. The weapon systems, even damaged, showed power readings that made human weapons look like toys. Everything about the ship was built on a scale that dwarfed human engineering. But Sam had spent weeks studying the preliminary scans, and she was convinced that humans could not only understand the alien technology, but improve on it. The key was not trying to copy what the aliens had done, but instead finding ways to combine alien innovation with human engineering principles. "Maya, show Colonel Stone what you found yesterday," Sam called to the young engineer working at a control station nearby. Maya Brooks looked up from her work, her face lighting up with enthusiasm. She was fresh out of engineering school, but she had a gift for seeing patterns that others missed. "Watch this, Colonel," Maya said, touching a control surface on the alien console. The entire panel came alive with swirling colors and moving symbols. "The alien control systems don't work like ours. Instead of buttons and switches, they respond to thought patterns and emotional states." Rick frowned. "You mean the ship reads minds?" "Not exactly," Maya explained. "It's more like the ship is designed to work with living operators, not just computer programs. The aliens built their ships to be partners, not just tools." To demonstrate, Maya placed her hand on the alien interface and concentrated. The colors on the panel shifted to match her emotional state, and suddenly the display showed a three-dimensional map of the ship's internal structure. "The ship is trying to communicate with me," Maya said. "It wants to show me where the damage is worst, what systems are still working, what needs to be fixed." Sam nodded approvingly. "This is why I think we can make this work. Human neural interface technology is actually more advanced than what the aliens were using. If we can build a bridge between human consciousness and alien systems, we might be able to create something neither species could build alone." The work began immediately. Teams of engineers swarmed over the alien ship, carefully documenting every system and component. What they found was both encouraging and terrifying. The alien weapons were powered by contained singularities, tiny black holes that provided virtually unlimited energy. The armor was made from materials that could shift their molecular structure in response to different types of attacks. The engines could manipulate spacetime itself, allowing the ship to move in ways that violated everything humans thought they knew about physics. But the ship was also fragile in ways that human vessels weren't. The aliens had built for maximum performance, not durability. When the ship was damaged, entire systems failed catastrophically. There were no backup systems, no redundancies, no way to keep fighting when things went wrong. "That's where we come in," Sam explained to her team during a planning meeting. "Humans build things to last. We design for failure. We assume that everything will break eventually, and we plan for it." The solution was radical. Instead of trying to repair the alien ship using alien methods, they would rebuild it using human engineering philosophy. They would keep the alien weapons and power systems, but surround them with human-designed armor and backup systems. They would maintain the alien performance but add human reliability. Engineer Lisa Morgan, who had been part of the original Discovery team, became the project's chief systems integrator. Her job was to figure out how to make human and alien technology work together. "It's like performing surgery on a patient from another planet," Lisa explained to anyone who would listen. "You have to understand what each organ does, but you also have to understand how the whole body works together." The breakthrough came when Maya figured out how to connect human neural interfaces to the alien consciousness-based control systems. By using human brain patterns to translate between the two technologies, they could make the alien ship respond to human operators with perfect precision. Navigator Helen Price was the first test pilot for the hybrid systems. As she settled into the alien command chair, modified with human neural interface technology, the ship responded to her presence like a faithful dog greeting its master. "This is incredible," Helen whispered as the ship's sensors became extensions of her own senses. She could feel the damage in the hull like physical pain, but she could also feel the ship's eagerness to fly again. The first test flight was a revelation. The rebuilt alien ship moved through space with fluid grace that no human vessel could match. But it also displayed the stubborn durability that was the hallmark of human engineering. When test weapons were fired at the ship, the alien armor absorbed the energy while human-designed backup systems kept all critical functions online. "We're not building an alien ship," Sam realized as she watched the test data stream across her screens. "We're building something new, something that's both human and alien, but also something that neither species could create alone." Colonel Rick Stone watched the test flight from the observation deck, and for the first time since the project began, he smiled. "I think I'm starting to understand what we're doing here," he said to Sam. "We're not just fixing their broken ship." "No," Sam agreed. Watching as the hybrid vessel performed maneuvers that should have been impossible, "we're turning it into something they never imagined it could be." The alien ship that had been abandoned as hopeless junk was being transformed into a predator unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. And it was being built with the most dangerous combination of traits imaginable: alien technology guided by human determination. The alarm klaxon screamed through Luna Station as Captain Jake Harrison ran toward the docking bay, where the rebuilt alien ship waited. After 6 months of modifications, the vessel that had once been a derelict wreck now looked like a mechanical predator ready to hunt. "Captain, we have multiple contacts dropping out of hyperspace at the edge of the system," Communications Officer Ryan Bell reported over the station's intercom. "Configuration matches no known human vessels. I think the aliens have found us." Jake felt his stomach drop. The rebuilt ship, now called the Retribution, had just completed its final systems checks. They weren't ready for a real fight yet, but it looked like they weren't going to have a choice. Admiral Kate Foster was already in the command center when Jake arrived, her face grim as she studied the tactical displays. 17 ships, she said without looking up. "They're big, Jake. Bigger than anything in our fleet." Through the observation windows, Jake could see the Retribution in its docking cradle. The ship looked nothing like its original alien design. Human engineers had wrapped the alien core in layers of armor plating and weapon systems. It was still recognizably alien in its flowing lines and organic curves, but now it also had the brutal functionality that marked all human warships. "They're transmitting," Ryan announced from his station. "It's heavily encrypted, but I'm getting pieces of it through the translation software." The main screen flickered, and an alien face appeared. The creature was tall and thin, with skin that looked like polished metal and eyes that glowed with inner fire. When it spoke, its voice was like the sound of breaking glass. "Humans," the alien said, the word dripping with contempt. "You have stolen property that belongs to the Zephyrian Empire. Return our vessel immediately, or face the consequences of your theft." Admiral Foster stepped forward. "This is Admiral Kate Foster of the Human Defense Fleet. The vessel you're referring to was found abandoned in deep space with no identification or claim markers. Under interstellar salvage law, it belongs to whoever found it." The alien's expression didn't change, but Jake could see the anger burning in those strange eyes. "Humans do not understand the concept of ownership. You are scavengers picking over the bones of your betters. The vessel you have taken is sacred to our people. It will be returned." "Over my dead body," Foster replied calmly. "That can be arranged," the alien said, and the transmission cut off. Within minutes, the alien fleet began moving toward Luna Station. Their ships were works of art, all flowing curves and graceful lines. But Jake could see the weapon ports and shield generators that marked them as instruments of war. "All personnel to battle stations," Admiral Foster announced. "This is not a drill." Jake ran for the Retribution's docking bay. The ship's hybrid crew was already aboard, human officers working alongside the alien-human interface systems that Maya Brooks had developed. As Jake settled into the captain's chair, he felt the ship respond to his presence like a living thing. "Lisa, how are our systems?" Jake asked. "All green, Captain," Engineer Lisa Morgan replied from her station. "The power core is running at optimal levels. Weapons are charged, and the hybrid armor plating is responding normally." Navigator Helen Price was already interfaced with the ship's consciousness-based control systems. "Captain, the ship wants to fight," she said, her voice filled with wonder. "I can feel its eagerness. It remembers what it was built for." The Retribution launched from Luna Station just as the first alien ships came within weapons range. Jake had expected them to open fire immediately, but instead they seemed to hesitate. "Captain," Ryan said from the communications station, "I'm picking up chatter from the alien fleet. I think they recognize their old ship, but they're confused by what we've done to it." Jake could understand their confusion. The Retribution still had the basic shape and energy signature of a Zephyrian warship, but everything else had been changed. Human weapon systems jutted from ports that had once held alien guns. Human armor plating covered areas where the original hull had been too thin. Human shield generators created overlapping fields of protection that alien ships had never needed. The lead alien ship finally transmitted a message. "Attention, stolen vessel. You will surrender immediately and prepare to be boarded. Resistance is futile." Jake smiled. "Ryan, open a channel." "Channel open, Captain." "This is Captain Jake Harrison of the human warship Retribution," Jake said, emphasizing the ship's new name. "We found your garbage floating in space and turned it into something useful. If you want it back, you're welcome to try and take it." The alien response was immediate and violent. Energy beams lanced out from 3 different ships, all aimed at the Retribution's core systems. Any normal human ship would have been vaporized instantly, but the Retribution wasn't a normal human ship. The alien energy weapons struck the hybrid armor and were absorbed by systems designed to channel that power directly into the ship's own weapons. The Retribution shrugged off attacks that should have killed. It returned fire with weapons that combined alien energy manipulation with human targeting systems. The first alien ship to be hit simply disappeared in a flash of light. "Did we just do that?" Helen asked, her voice filled with disbelief. "We did," Jake confirmed, watching as the alien fleet suddenly realized they were not facing the same broken ship they had abandoned, and were just getting started. The battle that followed was unlike anything in recorded history. The Retribution moved through space with alien grace but struck with human determination. Every time the aliens landed what should have been a killing blow, the ship's hybrid systems adapted and continued fighting. But Jake knew they were outnumbered. 17 ships against 1 was impossible odds, no matter how advanced the Retribution had become. They needed help. "Maya," Jake called to the young engineer, "can you access the ship's original communication systems? I want to send a message to every human ship in the system." Maya's hands flew over the alien interface panels. "Connection established, Captain. You're broadcasting on all frequencies." "This is Captain Jake Harrison to all human vessels," Jake announced. "We are under attack by hostile alien forces. The enemy has superior numbers and technology, but they've made one critical mistake." Jake paused as the Retribution rolled through a complex evasion maneuver that no human ship could have performed. "They underestimated us," Jake continued. "They thought we were just scavengers picking through their garbage. They forgot that humans have a talent for taking broken things and making them better than they ever were before." Around the system, human ships began responding to the call. They were smaller than the alien vessels, less advanced, but they were crewed by people who understood that sometimes the only way to win was to refuse to lose. As the human fleet converged on Luna Station, Jake realized that this battle was about more than just one rebuilt alien ship. It was about whether humans would be allowed to take their place among the stars, or whether they would be pushed back into the dark corners of space by species that considered themselves superior. The Retribution had been the aliens' ship once. They had built it, used it, and abandoned it when it became inconvenient. Now it was humanity's ship, and Jake intended to show them exactly what humans could do with their cast-offs. The Zephyrian fleet commander stared at his tactical display in disbelief. The ship his people had abandoned as hopeless scrap was not only fighting back, but it was winning. 3 of his vessels had already been destroyed, and the cursed human ship showed no signs of slowing down. "How is this possible?" he demanded of his tactical officer. "That ship was dying when we left it. The hull was cracked, the power core was failing, the weapons were offline." "Commander," the tactical officer replied nervously, "the humans appear to have completely rebuilt the vessel. Its energy signature is similar to our original ship, but everything else has been modified with their technology." Captain Jake Harrison felt the retribution respond to his thoughts as he guided the ship through another impossible maneuver. The alien consciousness-based control systems had bonded with his crew in ways that defied explanation. It was as if the ship had become an extension of their combined will. "Lisa, redirect power from the port shields to weapons," Jake commanded. "Already done, Captain," Engineer Lisa Morgan replied from her station. "The ship anticipated your order 3 seconds ago. It's learning our fighting patterns and adapting automatically." Navigator Helen Price was completely immersed in the ship's consciousness interface. Her eyes closed as she guided the retribution through a dance of death among the alien vessels. "Captain, the ship is showing me weak points in their armor. It remembers how to fight these vessels because it used to be one of them." The retribution rolled beneath, a spread of alien missiles and returned fire with weapons that should not have been able to penetrate Zephyrian shields. But the human-modified targeting systems had identified a harmonic frequency that caused the alien defenses to collapse. Another Zephyrian ship exploded in brilliant fire. "This is impossible," the alien commander snarled. "No inferior species should be able to modify our technology so effectively." But Captain Jake Harrison wasn't thinking about what should be possible. He was thinking about what humans did best, taking something broken and making it better than it had ever been before. The Retribution had been a powerful ship when the Zephyrians built it, but it had also been limited by their assumptions about what a warship should be. They had designed it for single combat against enemies of similar technology. They had never imagined it might need to fight outnumbered, or adapt to completely different fighting styles, or survive damage that would destroy any normal vessel. Humans had imagined all of those things, because humans always assumed the worst-case scenario and planned for it. "Maya," Jake called to the young engineer at the alien interface stations, "can you access the ship's original combat records? I want to know how the Zephyrians used to fight." Maya's hands moved across the organic control surfaces, and suddenly the ship's main display filled with tactical data from dozens of ancient battles. "Captain, the Zephyrians fight like duelists. They expect honor, formal engagements, predictable tactics. They've never faced an opponent that fights dirty." Jake smiled. "Then it's time to show them how humans fight." The Retribution suddenly accelerated straight toward the largest Zephyrian ship, as if Jake intended to ram it. The alien commander ordered evasive maneuvers, but at the last second the Retribution rolled sideways and fired every weapon it had directly into the Zephyrian ship's engines. "That's not a valid tactic," the alien commander transmitted furiously as his ship spun out of control. "You cannot simply ignore the rules of engagement." "We never agreed to your rules," Jake replied calmly as the Retribution destroyed 2 more ships with attacks that came from angles the Zephyrians weren't designed to defend against. Dr. Sam Carter watched the battle from Luna Station's command center, her face filled with wonder as she monitored the Retribution's performance. "Admiral, the ship is operating beyond all our theoretical limits. The fusion of human and alien technology is creating capabilities that neither species could achieve alone." Admiral Kate Foster nodded grimly. "How long can they keep this up?" "That's the beautiful part," Sam replied. "Human engineering philosophy means the ship gets stronger the longer it fights. Every hit it takes is absorbed and converted into power for its weapons. Every maneuver it performs teaches it new ways to move. It's not just a warship, Admiral. It's a learning predator." The battle reached its climax when the Zephyrian commander, desperate to salvage something from the disaster, ordered all remaining ships to concentrate fire on the Retribution simultaneously. Dozens of energy beams struck the hybrid vessel at once, more firepower than any single ship should have been able to survive. The Retribution disappeared in a ball of fire and energy. For a moment, the Zephyrian commander thought he had won. The cursed human ship was finally destroyed, and he could return home with news of humanity's defeat. Then the fire cleared, and the Retribution emerged completely unharmed. How? The alien commander whispered. Helen Price opened her eyes and smiled. Captain, the ship just showed me something amazing. All that energy they hit us with? The alien power systems absorbed it and fed it directly into our weapons. We're actually stronger now than when the battle started. Jake looked at his tactical display and realized that the Zephyrian fleet was broken. Half their ships were destroyed, the others were damaged and retreating. The aliens who had come to reclaim their abandoned property were fleeing from the monster that humans had created from their discarded scrap. Open a channel to the retreating ships, Jake ordered. Channel open. Captain, Ryan Bell confirmed. Attention Zephyrian fleet, Jake said, his voice carrying across space to the surviving alien vessels. You came here to take back something you threw away. You forgot that humans specialize in finding value in things other people consider worthless. Jake paused as the Retribution performed a slow, graceful turn that showed off its hybrid nature. Part alien elegance, part human determination. The ship you abandoned is gone, Jake continued. In its place we built something new, something that combines the best of both our species. You taught us that your technology could be incredibly powerful. We taught it that power means nothing without the will to keep fighting when everything goes wrong. The last Zephyrian ships jumped to hyperspace, fleeing the system in defeat. As they disappeared, Jake realized that this battle had changed everything. Humanity had not just defended itself against alien attack. It had taken alien technology and made it better than its creators had ever imagined. The Retribution hung in space like a mechanical predator, scarred but victorious. It was no longer the ship the aliens had built, nor was it purely human. It was something entirely new, a fusion of technologies and philosophies that created capabilities neither species could achieve alone. Word of the battle would spread throughout alien civilization. Species that had never heard of humanity would learn that there was a new player in the galaxy, one that didn't just copy alien technology but transformed it into something unprecedented. The monster was awake, and it was hungry for more challenges. 6 months after the Battle of Luna Station, Captain Jake Harrison stood on the bridge of the Retribution and watched as 5 more hybrid warships took their positions in formation around his flagship. Each vessel had been built using the Phoenix Protocol, taking damaged or abandoned alien ships and rebuilding them with human engineering philosophy. The results were terrifying in their effectiveness, Admiral. Kate Foster had authorized the expansion of the program after intelligence. Reports confirmed what they had suspected. News of humanity's technological abominations was spreading throughout alien civilization like wildfire. Some species were genuinely curious about how humans had achieved such results. Others were forming alliances specifically to deal with the human threat. Status report, Jake requested as the small fleet prepared for their patrol mission. All ships reporting ready. Captain, Communications Officer Ryan Bell announced. The Vengeance, Defiance, Phoenix, Redemption, and Justice are standing by for orders. Each ship in the fleet was unique, built from the wreckage of different alien species. The Vengeance had been a Korthak battlecruiser before human engineers filled it with adaptive armor and quantum torpedoes. The Phoenix was constructed from the bones of a Valerian exploration vessel, now equipped with sensors that could track ships across multiple star systems. Dr. Sam Carter had become something of a legend among alien civilizations. Her name was whispered in alien languages as the human who had solved the secret of hybrid technology. She had received death threats from 12 different species and marriage proposals from 3 others. The key, Sam explained to a group of new engineers at Luna Station, is understanding that we're not trying to copy what aliens built. We're trying to understand what they were trying to achieve, and then finding better ways to achieve it. The latest recruit to the Phoenix Protocol was Commander Lisa Morgan, who had been promoted to head the newest shipyard facility at Europa Station. Her job was to train the next generation of hybrid ship engineers, humans who could look at any piece of alien technology and immediately see ways to improve it. Remember, Lisa told her students as they examined a captured Zephyrian fighter, aliens build for perfection, humans build for survival. When you combine perfection with the ability to survive anything, you get something that transcends both approaches. The psychological impact of the hybrid ships was proving to be as important as their technological capabilities. Alien crews who encountered them in battle reported feeling a sense of wrongness, as if the laws of physics themselves were being violated by ships that shouldn't be able to exist. Navigator Helen Price had become the unofficial expert on alien psychology. After spending so much time interfaced with alien consciousness systems, she could feel the confusion and fear that alien ships broadcast when they encountered human hybrid vessels. "They don't understand what we've done," Helen explained to Jake during a briefing. "To them, technology is sacred. Ships are built by specific species using specific methods that have been unchanged for thousands of years. The idea that you could take their holy technology and make it better using completely different principles is literally unthinkable to them." The strategic implications were staggering. Human space had gone from being a minor frontier territory to becoming a major power in the galaxy, practically overnight. Species that had ignored humanity for centuries were now sending diplomatic missions and trade delegations. Colonel Rick Stone, now promoted to general, had been placed in charge of the new hybrid fleet command. His job was to develop tactics that took advantage of the unique capabilities of human-alien hybrid technology. "The old rules of space combat don't apply to us," Rick explained to his tactical officers. "Our ships can survive damage that would destroy pure alien vessels, but they can also perform maneuvers that pure human ships could never attempt. We fight like ghosts, appearing where the enemy doesn't expect us, surviving attacks that should kill us, and striking with power that alien computers say is impossible." The Retribution itself had become something of a legend. Alien species traded stories about the ghost ship that had destroyed an entire Zephyrian fleet using their own abandoned technology. Some claimed it was crewed by the spirits of dead alien warriors. Others insisted it was proof that humans had made a deal with cosmic forces beyond understanding. Jake knew the truth was both simpler and more complex. The Retribution wasn't supernatural. It was just what happened when human determination met alien innovation. But the results were so far beyond what either species could achieve alone that they might as well have been magic. Maya Brooks had been promoted to Chief of Consciousness Integration Systems, a job that existed nowhere else in the galaxy. Her task was to train humans to mentally interface with alien technology in ways that the original builders had never imagined. The aliens built their ships to work with their minds, Maya explained to her students. But human minds work differently. We're more adaptable, more willing to accept contradictions, more comfortable with chaos. When we interface with alien systems, we don't just use them the way they were designed. We push them beyond their original limits. The first major test of the expanded hybrid fleet came when a coalition of alien species attempted to establish a quarantine zone around human space. 17 different races had agreed that humanity's hybrid technology represented a threat to the natural order of galactic civilization and needed to be contained. The fleet they sent to enforce the quarantine included over 200 ships representing the finest military technology from across the galaxy. Jake's hybrid fleet met them at the edge of human space with just 23 vessels. The battle lasted 4 hours. When it was over, the alien coalition had lost 60% of their ships, while the human hybrid fleet had suffered only minor damage to 3 vessels. The surviving alien commanders returned home with reports that human ships could absorb energy, attacks and convert them into weapons power, could perform maneuvers that violated basic physics, and seemed to adapt and improve during combat. But the most disturbing report was about the humans themselves. "They fight like their ships," one alien commander reported to his government. "They take damage that should destroy them and keep fighting. They learn from every attack we make and adapt their tactics in real time. It's as if they've infected their own technology with human stubbornness, and now their ships refuse to die even when they should." As news of the battle spread, more alien species began requesting diplomatic contact with humanity. They wanted to understand how humans had achieved such results. They wanted to know if humans would share their hybrid technology. Most importantly, they wanted to know if humans could be convinced to use their power responsibly. Jake stood on the bridge of the Retribution, watching as alien diplomatic ships approached human space for the first time in history. The galaxy's established powers were finally ready to treat humanity as an equal, not because they respected human culture or values, but because they feared human ingenuity. "Captain," Ryan reported from his station, "we're receiving formal diplomatic requests from the Altarian Republic, the Centauri Alliance, and the Outer Rim Collective. They all want to establish trade relationships and technology-sharing agreements. Jake smiled. Tell them we're happy to talk, but make sure they understand our position. We didn't start this by trying to threaten anyone. We just took some broken ships that nobody wanted and fixed them up to work better. The truth was that humanity had fundamentally changed the balance of power in the galaxy by doing what humans did best, seeing potential where others saw only problems. They had taken alien garbage and turned it into weapons that alien civilizations couldn't match or counter. Now every species in the galaxy faced the same question. What would humans accomplish when they stopped rebuilding alien ships and started designing their own vessels from scratch, using everything they had learned from hybrid technology? The answer to that question would determine the future of galactic civilization. But for now, Jake was content to patrol human space in ships that had been abandoned as hopeless wrecks and transformed into predators that made alien fleets flee in terror. The monsters were awake, and they were multiplying. The galaxy would never be the same again.